I just go outright winner, which is, look, if it hits, it's great, but it's very, very difficult to do. I like Brooks Koepka at 20-1. When you look at his success in the PGA Championship, no one has had more success at the PGA than Koepka in the last decade. He's won this tournament twice, back-to-back 2018, 2019, has 3 top 5 finishes since 2013. We know he has the mettle to handle the pressure of a course like this, of a major like this. Finished tied for second at the Masters, so he's playing good golf. And you know, Chelsa, this is a guy who, and we've discussed this a little bit in the past, where there was a time when we didn't know if Brooks Koepka was ever going to get healthy because he had that knee injury. And he admitted, yeah, that's kind of why I signed with the LIV Tour, because I didn't know if my knee was ever going to get right. And had he been healthy, he admitted, maybe I wouldn't have done it. But I'm not going to turn down the money when I don't know if my golf game, if athletically I'm ever going to be the same. Now he is finally healthy. And because he's 100%, I'm surprised these odds aren't shorter. I love Brooks Koepka at 20-1.
Oh, I'm on Brooks Koepka top 20. You can get him for plus money, even money to finish in the top 20 for a guy that's coming off a T2 at the Masters. Even though he shot a 75 in the final round, that's incredible to finish second at the Masters despite a final round 75. You look at this course, you need somebody who is big, strong, athletic, hit it a mile off the tee. And I think that lines up well for a couple of the LIV guys. And also, I'm rooting for drama. I would love to see a LIV Tour member win the PGA Championship. Wouldn't it just be fitting? I would love to see Rory's face. So I'm going to go for Brooks Koepka, even money in the top 20. And also Dustin Johnson. Speaking of being long off the tee and playing those Northeastern really difficult courses very well, because this one kind of lines up like one of those like really difficult Northeastern, like US Open type courses. I'm going to go Dustin Johnson plus 125, top 20. Same thing as Brooks Koepka. I think they're kind of similar players. And also DJ just coming off a win on the LIV Tour in Tulsa. So let's go DJ, let's go Brooks, let's go drama. Sometimes the rotations change from series to series. So you can see a player that's not getting a ton of minutes in the past series, but because of the matchup, they're going to get more playing time. I see somebody on your card that maybe is an odd man out, who maybe he's not getting those minutes. Who is it?
For me tonight, it's Lonnie Walker. His points prop is set at 7.5. I'm feeling pretty strong about the under. Guy had 6 points in game 1. I do feel, I mean, it's not a feel. He had 10.5 minutes in the first half, cut down to 8.5 minutes in the second half. You saw Darvin Ham make the adjustment, go a little bit heavier with Rui Hachimura, who had a lot of success defensively on Jokic. So Lonnie Walker's a boomer bust guy. Everyone's going to remember the big game 5 or game 4 in the fourth quarter. He had 15 points. I think a lot of that comes with minutes. I think Vanderbilt gets a little bit more minutes tonight. And he's kind of the odd man out when you look at Reeves, Schroeder, and Russell as your 3 guards. With Lonnie Walker, I think he gets cut a little bit tonight in favor of Vanderbilt and Rui.
We're talking with Bob Stanley, a.k.a. Prop Holiday, as a prop analyst for PicksWise. Okay, I see a bet on LeBron here, and I love when someone bets on a superstar because it's hard to find value, but you think you found it.
So, I came here with a LeBron bet, and spoiler alert, there's also going to be an Anthony Davis bet. And I know that seems kind of sad to say. You go, oh, I could bet on LeBron James. No, for me, what I loved seeing from LeBron that we have not seen in the regular season, and what you don't see from aging superstars, is getting to the free throw line. That's usually the biggest indicator when someone's aging out in their career. How often are they going to the free throw line and attacking the basket? He was 11 free throw attempts in game 1. He had 11 free throw attempts in game 6 against the Warriors. This is what you want to see from LeBron. He's getting closer to that finals, so now he's getting more aggressive. Free throw attempts, equal points for me. He was able to hunt Jamal Murray in those switches. He's still at 38 years old, able to get to the basket whenever he wants. These are easy buckets for him, and he didn't really shoot well from 3 in game 1. If that turns around, I think we're starting to see more LeBron in that 27 to 30-point range, which is what he's done in the last 2 games, versus the 25s in the earlier round. So his line's 25.5. It's minus 108 if you shop it around. I like this line. I don't think we're going to see another 23-point performance from Austin Reeves, and LeBron should not go down 0-2 in a series if he wants to make it back to the finals. So I'm going over 25.5 points for LeBron tonight. I think he gets aggressive again.
I think a guy like Joel Embiid should absolutely have input. You should say, look, you're the MVP of the league. You're the best player on our team. One of the best players in the NBA. What are your honest opinions on Doc Rivers? And have an honest conversation about strengths, weaknesses, and just kind of a feeling out process. Ultimately, I think it's up to management to make that call because they are the ones that get paid to do that. But certainly the more star power you have, and especially when you've had the year that Joel Embiid has had where he wins most valuable player, a lot of that has to do with Doc Rivers. That's what's so interesting to me too. It seems a little hypocritical where Joel Embiid has an MVP season, right? Best season of his career, has been lobbying for the MVP. He finally does it. Doc Rivers gets no credit for that. Fine. But then Joel Embiid completely disappears relative to the regular season in the playoffs. And what do people say? Oh, Doc Rivers. Well, you can't have it both ways. Do you know what I mean? Like it's either Joel Embiid or it's not. You can't not give Doc Rivers credit when Joel Embiid is doing well, and then when he struggles, you put it on Doc Rivers. To me, that's just a cop-out. So, again, yes, a player should have some sort of input, but I don't believe that one player should control everything that happens and particularly controls who is the handpicked head coach because there are other players on the team. And also, when you have a personal relationship with a head coach, it's really hard to see the forest for the trees and to see the bigger picture.
For sure. Like, obviously, you're going to build some kind of relationship with him. I think there's degrees to this to where you can't hire a head coach that's not going to get along with your star player. But the same side of the coin, you look at teams who have gone too far in that direction. Like, look at the teams that LeBron James has been a part of before this year when he was making all of the roster moves and he put on his GM hat and he was bringing in all of his old friends to come play with him in LA. It just doesn't work out. And that is the biggest star in the game. So if LeBron can't make it work, and I'm not saying LeBron is dumb, I just feel like GM is such a tough position, and you're already being a basketball player and thinking about the minutia of every single game on a daily basis that it's not your job. So I think it is perfectly fine to part ways with somebody, even if your star player does not appreciate it. But the other headline coming out of Philadelphia is that James Harden is reportedly looking to opt out of his deal with the 76ers. He has a player option that's coming up. And according to Bleacher Report, Chris Haynes of Bleacher Report, Harden will be seeking a new long-term deal and that he will only, quote, entertain suitors that present a competitive roster and the basketball freedom for the star to be himself. What do we make of that?
Well, he's kind of got the 76ers in a vice here because he's going to opt out. And unless the Sixers want a complete rebuild, they're going to have to re-sign him. So, yes, there's a possibility he go to the Suns. We've heard that rumor. But what I keep reading is that ultimately, and here's the thing too, is that if you look at Daryl Morey, he's a James Harden guy. He's been in the front office for a long time when James Harden was in Houston, now in Philly. So I guarantee you what I think will happen is that James Harden will sign a 4-year deal, whatever, with the 76ers, because if they don't sign him, then all of a sudden you've got an MVP in Joel Embiid and you take away one of your primary pieces. I don't think they want to rebuild at this point. So ultimately, whether you think he's worthy of it or not, I believe James Harden is going to re-sign with the Sixers. They don't have much of a choice here, and I think he knows it. And he's got his guy, Daryl Morey. First of all, full credit to you because the last time you were on, you used the word tertiary, and now Chelsa has used it. Our guest just used it, so you were definitely setting the vocabulary bar for us on this show. Secondly, because you're such a stats guy, do you have, because I'll look at, looks like the Yankees over is hitting 4 straight games. I imagine you have some sort of proprietary algorithm where you're punching in numbers. Do you get that deep into it? Because it wouldn't surprise me.
I will sell it to you at a very high price if you are interested. We can talk after the show if that's something that you would like to purchase. When it comes to trends, the bigger question for me is, okay, if you say, all right, Yanks over run total last 4 games. I want to know why. Is there some other
Mm-hmm.
stat that you can point to that can explain why this is happening? If it's particular pitching matchups, well, then the trend doesn't matter very much, because maybe that 5th day, you're getting a really, really tough starting pitcher you're going up against. If there is something in terms of exit velo, launch angle that has gone through the roof, then maybe there's something to it. And so trends matter, but they matter only when you can explain what's going on. If you just say intrinsically the trend matters, well, that doesn't matter very much to me.
Right. If you have a good reason behind it. What my question is, with all the stats in baseball, which are the ones that matter?
StatCast data, I think, has been just terrific. I think it really has been a godsend as far as seeing the physical nature of hitters and pitchers and figuring out, okay, well, maybe you're on a hitting streak, but why are you on a hitting streak? Is it just because your batting average on balls in play is really, really high? Well, that's going to come back down to reality. But if, say, you've adjusted or tweaked your swing in some way and your exit velo is much better or your launch angle is much better, then there's something to it in terms of the adjustments that the hitter has made. And so Baseball Savant's a great place. Fangraphs now has StatCast data available. Anytime you can find that and incorporate it into your modeling or your overall approaches, I think you'll be in good shape.